Week in Review on CJDC. CJDC TV.
Welcome to Week in Review. I'm Hugh Smith, and here are your top Peace Region stories from the past week. It was an emotional courtroom at the Dawson Creek Provincial Courthouse Thursday afternoon as a woman accused of manslaughter in Dawson Creek homicide last weekend appeared in court via video feed. Candace Dawn Shearer, born in 1986, is facing manslaughter charges in the death of Dawson Creek resident Anna Shepard. Shepard was found deceased at her home on 116th Avenue and 14th Street on Saturday, November 12th. Shearer has the right to apply for bail at any time. However, she has declined it this time and has agreed to remain in custody. The Crown applied for several no-contact orders to be placed. The accused will now not be able to contact several individuals who are described as material witnesses, and a publication ban prevents media from reporting those names. Anytime the prosecution lays manslaughter charges, it can be upgraded to murder in the first or second degree at any time before trial. Shearer's next court date is November 29th. A Fort St. John man has pleaded not guilty to 4 terrorism-related charges. Othman Hamdan was arrested in July of 2015 after allegedly posting Islamic State propaganda online. Hamdan is in BC Supreme Court fighting charges of encouraging the commission of murder, assault, and mischief, as well as inducing and instructing someone to carry out a terrorist act. RCMP says the propaganda called on people to kill in the name of jihad. Pre-trial proceedings were held yesterday in Vancouver and are expected to continue for several weeks. A new survey suggests that most people in British Columbia would be in favor of pausing the construction of Site C and sending it to an independent review. Polling company Insights West released the results of their survey on Wednesday, which found that 73% of residents would prefer delaying construction while the province looks into the alternative sources of energy, such as wind or solar power. The company says they were motivated to look into the issue based on concerns over the numbers they were hearing from BC Hydro.
The level of energy consumption has stayed relatively stable over the past 10, 12 years. So the notion that we require this immediately is not something that is supported by BC Hydro's own numbers. So we thought it was a good opportunity to ask people whether they believe that we should be embracing other things such as conservation, more energy efficiency, or other energy sources before we build a new dam.
821 people were included in the survey, and it was commissioned by DeSmog Canada, an online publication that has come out against the mega project. While Premier Christy Clark has promised to move the project to the point of no return, pollsters say that may not be in the best interests of her province.
What the numbers are showing us is that there's a lot of caution from British Columbians. They are looking into other sources of energy, other ways to get this done. There's obviously some environmental concerns and some First Nations concerns associated with Site C that have been discussed prominently. And I think what they're looking for is some sort of leadership and some sort of decision-making that has exhausted all other opportunities.
BC Hydro has not yet responded to the results of the survey. The Mile Zero cruisers want to make sure everyone has a happy holiday season and have once again kicked off an annual toy drive this week. The cruisers partner with the Department of Child and Family Services, school counselors, and other groups to host the toy drive, which is now in its 19th year. The drive aims to support families in need in the community so they have something to give their children over the holidays. Last year was a record year for the toy drive, collecting $5,000 worth of toys and serving 250 children. This year, they hope to exceed that goal as demand has gone up in the community.
Even though you would think it's getting better, every year there's a bigger demand. This year, as an example, we had one group needed 25 toys for 25 children. This year they need toys for 56 children. So the demand is actually growing.
Organizers also say the downturn in the economy has a lot to do with the increased need.
Surprisingly, there are a lot of families that really won't have anything at Christmas time. Whether it's something that has been historical in that family, or there are a number of families that simply don't have the jobs that they had last year or the year before, and so they have to cut back. So this helps make that Christmas time a little more enjoyable for those children. Those children go to school with kids that are lucky enough to live in a home that they're going to be getting toys. So it helps even it out a little bit and make them feel not so neglected.
The cruisers are accepting all types of non-violent toys for both boys and girls. And in particular, they are looking for gifts for older teenagers. If you would like to donate, toys can be dropped off at any one of the 5 car dealerships in town. The Troy Drive runs until December 16th. The Fort St. John Huskies turned out to their 3rd rookie netminder of the year for Sunday's game against Beaverlodge. Former tracker Tavis Vians got the start for the Huskies in his first ever NWJHL game. He got some help from his teammates early. Brandon Howard and Matthew Absassin showed off some nice hands as both Huskies forwards potted a pair of goals in the first period. This one was essentially over after the first frame as Fort St. John took a commanding 7-0 lead. The question was, could Vians pitch a shutout in his first career junior game? Beaverlodge is at the bottom of the standings, but they have Evan Tordiff, who might be the best player in the league. In the second period, Tordiff manages to beat Vians and spoil the shutout. But Vians wasn't rattled. Tordiff got a couple more great chances against the rookie netminder in the period, but Vians was up to the task. Vians turned away all 13 shots and picked up his first career NWJHL win as the Huskies took it 11-1.
Those are tough games for a goalie to get into. I mean, he did a good job when he had to be. He answered the bell. That Tordiff's probably the best player in our league, so he's a hard guy to stop, especially when he gets space out there.
The Huskies got back in action on Friday, hosting the Fairview Flyers. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a moment with the Peace Country's top stories. Stay with us.
Week in Review. We'll be right back. CJDC TV. Week in Review on CJDC. CJDC TV.
It's been exactly 1 year and 4 months after James McIntyre was fatally shot by a police officer outside a Site C event in Dawson Creek. On Wednesday, the Independent Investigations Office of BC has cleared the officer involved, saying the use of deadly force was justified. The province's police watchdog was called to investigate the night of July 16, 2015. McIntyre was shot outside of Fixed Grill in Dawson Creek as the BC Hydro was holding an event at the Stonebridge Hotel. The Independent Investigations Office is called in anytime there is an officer-related incident that results in death or serious harm. Their report was released Wednesday and highlights statement from 18 civilian witnesses. On the evening McIntyre was shot, police were responding to a disturbance call. Police say when they arrived, McIntyre was outside Fixed Grill wearing a mask and holding one arm behind his back. It was later determined that McIntyre was not the reason a disturbance call was reported to police. But after they asked him what he was holding, he showed the 2 officers a knife. Witnesses have stated that police repeatedly asked McIntyre to put the knife down. After he refused, he was pepper sprayed. One witness says after that, McIntyre screamed, got mad, and started chasing them. That's when an officer shot McIntyre, who later died in the hospital. The report also notes the officers were not equipped with tasers, so use of a gun was the only option to stop the, quote, threat of danger that was potentially deadly to the officers. In a stunning upset last week, Americans elected Donald Trump as their next president. Trump has made a few promises that will affect Canada, such as getting the Keystone XL pipeline built and reworking the NAFTA free trade agreement. But what kind of effect will a Trump presidency have on the Peace region? CJDC's Peter Houston reports.
There's a good chance that Donald Trump has never even heard of the Peace region, but that doesn't mean the United States' president-elect won't have an impact on the Peace. The question is, will it be good or bad?
It's definitely going to be good for Fort St. John and the Northeast BC. It will discourage Christy Clark and the next BC Liberal or whoever will govern BC from further increasing carbon taxation in BC.
The Peace's federal MP Bob Zimmer agrees, although for different reasons. He sees a Trump presidency having a big impact on trade.
It's the largest trade relationship in the world. It's just about $1 trillion Canadian. So I think President-elect Trump as a businessman gets that and look forward to a positive relationship, and I think that will happen.
Trump has also promised to build the Keystone XL pipeline, which would carry oil from the northern Alberta oil sands to the United States. Zimmer has gone to Washington to lobby in favor of Keystone XL. He says it could provide much-needed jobs to unemployed energy sector workers in the Peace.
The Republican Party and President-elect Trump have always said that they would want to see Keystone go forward, and for us, that's big. Just a pro-resource development relationship with the U.S., and they want to see it developed and not diminished.
Oil and gas observers see a more direct benefit for the Peace region.
We will also benefit from the Keystone project because, as we all know, just 50 kilometers south of Fort St. John, before Dawson Creek, we discovered oil. And, well, hopefully we can sell oil to America as well. It's not just Alberta's oil that we can sell to them.
From the view of the struggling Peace region economy, many are saying Trump's election victory can be classified as a pleasant surprise. Peter Houston, CJDC TV News, Fort St. John.
The Ministry of Education wants to know what parents think of their new curriculum. They're now holding a series of public consultations throughout the province. Next Thursday, November 24th, representatives from the ministry will be in Dawson Creek looking for feedback. It's also a chance for residents to ask questions and learn how to navigate through the new system. The Ministry of Education now also needs to figure out how to align the reporting system with the new curriculum.
So there's a lot of discussion about what curriculum or what reporting will look like right from K through 12. So it gives folks around the province an opportunity to have some input into those final decisions that are being made around the whole reporting process.
The new curriculum is already in place for kindergarten to grade 9, and high school students will see changes next year. Next Thursday in Dawson Creek, the open house will be at the secondary school's central campus from 5 to 8 p.m. You can also give your feedback online. We have a link on our website, cjdctv.com. Fort St. John's Salvation Army is asking residents who donate clothing to drop them off only during regular business hours. The organization says they've been receiving a large amount of donations when they're closed. Officials say that while they do appreciate all donations they received, the clothing that is left at their back door over the evenings and weekends is often ruined.
Rummage through, the bags get ripped open, stuff gets strewn all through the back alley. I know that animals have been burrowing in them and using them as litter boxes and things, and it just makes it very difficult for us to use it. So when donations are left when we're closed, more often than not, we're not able to use them at all.
The organization says they would like to continue to receive donations from the public, but ask that those items be dropped off when staff are there to receive them.
The request that I would make is to do your best to donate during the business hours when we're open, and I know that gets tough because people are working as well, so that makes it difficult. But it means that your donations go the furthest and help us the most when you can drop it off when there's someone here to accept them.
The thrift store is open Monday to Friday from 10 to 5. We're going to take one more quick break, but we'll be back in a moment with Week in Review. Stay with us.
Week in Review. We'll be right back. CJDC TV. Week in Review on CJDC. CJDC TV.
Throughout the U.S. presidential election, many Americans were talking about moving to Canada if Donald Trump was elected. It turns out British Columbia could be one of their best options. According to a poll conducted by Main Street Research and Post Media, BC is one of the most receptive provinces when it comes to the idea of Americans moving to Canada. Newfoundland and Nova Scotia are at the top of the list. It's not likely the Peace region will see much of an influx. But according to pollsters, Americans potentially moving to British Columbia could be a good opportunity for Canadian companies down south.
This is probably a very good time for Canadian business, not just in all of Canada, but in particular BC with its high skills tech sector. In order to be able to recruit some of the brightest minds for the United States to come move to Canada if they feel that our country more aligns with people's values.
Pollsters say businesses like Silicon Valley startups could choose to headquarter their companies in places like Vancouver as well. But they also warn Americans who are thinking about making the move that it's not as easy as it seems.
I think most people don't know that it's actually very tough to move to Canada. You need to have enough points in our point system in order to qualify to be given an offer of permanent residency. And so I think a lot of Americans are in for a rude awakening when they try to apply to come to Canada, because the reality is a lot of people won't meet the criteria to come here.
According to immigration data, the number of people granted permanent residency status from the U.S. jumped almost 50% in the first 6 months of 2016. The city of Dawson Creek is in the process of creating a new position to help with the economic development in the community and ease the mayor's workload. During the past 2 Dawson Creek City Council meetings, councillors have discussed the potential of creating an economic development officer position for the city. The mayor says current staffing capacity at City Hall does not support what is needed for economic development, and that an EDO would strengthen the city's regional partnerships. The city does not currently have an EDO, and many of the duties an EDO would have are being handled by the mayor. Mayor Bumstead says he doesn't have the capacity or time to fill both roles, and an EDO would help fill the gaps.
Many things going on in the agriculture and oil and gas and forestry, and mining stuff is starting to perk along again, and our developers are coming in and they're looking for information, and I don't have the time, capacity, or ability to fill that, and I worry that from that perspective.
Some city councillors didn't believe the EDO position was necessary.
I just cannot support this. I support what you do very much. I support the need for you to get assistance, for sure. I don't think it produces anything. Does it increase our tax base? Does it improve retention of our businesses? I think it's lots of smoke and mirrors behind this thing.
That's a position that requires support on its own, and vehicle and travel and everything else. I mean, without much calculation, you're looking at probably $200,000 a year or more.
Council voted 4-3 in favor of creating the position. Next, city staff will outline parameters for the position and the impact on the budget and bring it back before council. The city of Fort St. John has begun planning for the 2017 budget. The city's finance department is starting to gather info from the last year in preparation for bringing a first draft to city council in January. City staff begin planning so far in advance because they want to give council and the public as much time as possible to consider their proposals.
We put together a sample budget and say, this is what it'll cost if we do all of the things that we want to do, and here's the list. And then council can look at it and go, that's too much money. Let's take off this, this, and this. And then we can go to the public and say, what do you think of this? If these are all of the things that we want to do, your taxes will be this much. What do you think of that?
The city recently released a video listing some of the things covered by the budget in order to get the public thinking about what's most important to them. Officials say they hope this will help residents understand what's covered by the city when the public consultations begin.
Sometimes get questions about, well, why don't you do this? Oh, well, we don't do that because the province does that, and that's not the city's job. So just helping people to understand what the city does, what the province does, what Northern Health does, and it's more specific about the things that we do.
Public consultations will begin mid-January, and the final draft of the budget should be ready in April. It's that time of year again, flu season, and Northern Health is encouraging everyone in the Peace region to get the flu shot. Flu season typically lasts from November to March, and Northern Health is holding public clinics to immunize residents. Officials say the vaccine is designed to protect people from most strains of the illness.
The flu shot will protect you against either 3 or 4 strains, depending on which one you get of influenza. So it is what has been predicted to be the most common strains of influenza circulating this year.
While everyone in the region is encouraged to get the shot, Northern Health says certain members of the population are more at risk than others.
Those we want to protect are those who are more at risk for complications from the flu virus. Those include people with certain chronic health conditions, as well as those who don't have such a strong immune system. And that can include those under the age of 5 and those over the age of 65.
Northern Health will be holding public vaccination clinics in Fort St. John on December 22nd and December 6th. For exact times and locations, visit our website, cjdctv.com. The Dawson Creek Junior Canucks have been one of the best teams in the NWJHL this season, but they've had a bit of trouble with their rivals from just down the Alaska Highway. The Junior Seas had lost both meetings with the Fort St. John Huskies this season heading into their game Saturday night. Was the third time the charm? CJDC's Peter Houston reports.
Since Matt Fawcett went down with a concussion, the Fort St. John Huskies have been leaning heavily on Johnny Bateman, and for good reason. The rookie netminder leads the NWJHL in both goals against average and save percentage. He was also part of the reason the Huskies let go of former goalie Logan Edwards, who was scooped up by the Junior Canucks and got the start Saturday night against his former team. Jump to the second period, Junior sees up 4-3. Edwards makes a big pad stop on Kyle Crawford. In the third, now tied at 4, it's Bateman with a little highway robbery, flashes the leather to keep this one even at 4. Then it's Edwards' turn. He makes a big glove save on Drew Fudger, and this one would need overtime. In the extra frame, Jacob Lang in on the break, but Edwards makes another huge stop in the shootout. The Huskies need a goal to extend it. Matthew Absassin undresses Edwards with a gorgeous move, but after the Junior Canucks scored, Brandon Howard needs to find the back of the net to keep the Huskies alive, tries to use the same move as Absassin, but Edwards isn't fooled this time. Edwards picks up the win against his former team and immediately picks up the game puck as his teammates mob him. Huskies assistant coach Todd Alexander said Fort St. John simply got outworked.
It's just a matter of work ethic, period. There wasn't really anything in our game that we were terrible at, other than we were just not moving our feet and matching the effort that Dawson was playing, and they played great.
Despite picking up 5 of 6 points against Dawson Creek this year, Alexander said he feels like his team has been outworked and outplayed by the Junior Canucks, especially over the last 2 games. The main problem for the Huskies this year has been work ethic, and to fix that, Alexander said practice might not be so fun this week.
If we're gonna play river hockey for the rest of the winter, I don't know if I'm going to have any hair left, I can tell you that much.
The next meeting between the Junior Canucks and Huskies is January 7th in Dawson Creek. Peter Houston, CJDC TV News, Fort St. John.
That's it for our show. We'll be back next time with another edition of Week in Review. Until then, please join us at weeknights at 6 for CJDC TV News. Thanks for watching.
CJDC TV.